Hello everyone, myself SIDDHESH NAIK. I'm here to introduce online session for Computer Science Standard 12. You all know our institute plans to start the online lectures due to COVID-19. We have to move with our syllabus. So this is our first session. In this session, we have to discuss about syllabus of 12th standard computer science, and then we can start our main chapter. So first we'll discuss about the chapters we have to study in 12th standard. Okay, so basically computer science is divided into two parts, paper 1 and paper 2. In paper 1 we have to study 50 marks theory plus 50 marks practical. Same for the paper 2, 50 marks theory and 50 marks practical. In paper 1 we have to study 4 chapters. Chapter number 1 is operating system, that is purely based on theory. Chapter number 2 is very small but easy and important for a paper 1, but again based on theory. Chapter number 3 very important, that is your C++, theory as well as practical. We already finished the basic part of C++ in 11th standard. Now we have to study advanced part of C++. Chapter number 4 is again very easy, that is HTML and based on theory and practical. Now we are moving to the paper 2. Paper 2 having 5 chapters. Chapter number 5 is introduction of 8085. Very interesting, very important, but based on theory. Chapter number 6 is instruction set of 8085. Very important, very important, based on theory and practical. From paper 2, chapter number 5 and 6 having more weightage. Chapter number 7 is very small, that is x86, low weightage. Chapter number 8 is again very small, microcontroller based on theory and again low weightage. Chapter number 9 is quite interesting, based on theory, that is networking and very important. So here we will start our main syllabus from paper 2, chapter number 9, part 1. I'm planning to divide the whole chapter in 4 parts. So the basic introduction of chapter number 9 is part 1. Networking. This particular word we are using in day-to-day life. Today's world is totally depends upon networking. And the main intention of networking is a communication. Today's we are using this concept. Why? Because everyone are doing work from home. And that work from home is possible only and only because of networking. So we have to study meaning of networking. What are the advantages and disadvantages of networking? How networking will works, that we have to study in this chapter. So we are moving to the definition. Networking means it's a connection between multiple nodes. Here I am using one word that is called as nodes. Nodes means any type of device available inside the network. That devices is called as nodes. I can't use your computer, mobile or any other device, because if you mention here particular device, then that only device you can attach in a network. So instead of that, I am using the word, it's called as what? Nodes. So when you connect the multiple nodes together, it becomes a what? Network. But what is the purpose of connection between nodes? That is sharing of resources. We can share our resources. As per the term of computer, resource will be data, resource will be hardware, or resource will be software. So how we can share a data? Send the data from one person to another. Basically, we are using WhatsApp, Facebook, email to transfer the information from one place to another place. And that is under sharing the resources, that is data. Sharing the software. How we can share the software? Basically, example is Facebook. The Facebook is an application or it's a software that available on server and you can access from anywhere and any time. That is called as sharing the software. The second example, online admission process. Basically, when you're going for offline admission, that means you have to collect the form physically, you have to fill the form physically, and you have to submit the form physically. In that process, there are lots of time you require, and the time is what specified, mentioned, and that during time only you have to complete the work. But if you are going for online process, the online form available on server, so you can fill that form from anywhere and any time, and you can submit the form. That means that form they share the multiple persons at a time. That is called as sharing the software. And third is hardware. Why we want to share the hardware? There are only two main possibility. The number one is the cost cutting and number two is security. If you want to create a lab infrastructure, consider there are 5 machines and I want to attach a printer to each and every machine. So consider the cost of single printer is 5,000. So 5,000 into 5, that is 25,000. But no one is using printer regularly. Everyone is using partially. So that means again it increases the maintenance cost, because you know that very well. Printer का cartridge either आप use करो या ना करो, you have to change within a time. So I consider the 25,000 as again the maintenance cost. So total cost is 50,000. But instead of giving individual, what I am doing, I can attach a single printer to all 5 machines. That is called as sharing the printer. So now, instead of 5 printers, we require a single printer. The cost is 5,000 from 25,000. And if you consider 100% maintenance, again that is 5,000. So total cost is 10,000. So previous method we are using 50,000 and now that work will done with the 10,000. So that is cost cutting. This particular structure basically you can observe in your computer lab. The second is security. Everyone is now doing work from home. Every organization having its own and confidential data. So what they are doing data centrally. एक सर्वर रूम में डेटा रखते हैं और सबको उसका एक्सेस देते हैं. Everyone or whatever the employee wants to data, just you have to log in, you'll get the data, you have to process, but again you have to save the data on what server. So no one can misuse of that particular data. That is called as what? Security. Then third, how we can connect hardware, software, or how we can send the data. We require very important concept, that is transmission media. What is transmission media? Basically the first word is transfer. What is the difference between transfer and transmission? Transfer means only we can send, but transmission means we can send and we can receive at the same time. The media which we are using to transfer the data or to share the software or to share the hardware, that media is called as what? Transmission media. There are two types of media. One is wired media and second is wireless media. Which one is reliable? As per me, wired media is reliable, not wireless. Because wired media provides either low or high but constant speed. Wireless media require maximum network, that is maximum quantity of network, then only you will get the high speed, otherwise you're not. बेसिकली आपने देखा होगा, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके घर पे टेलीफोन है और एक मोबाइल. अगर आप मोबाइल से कॉल करते हो, सो देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंस, बीच बीच में कॉल कट होना या फिर पूरे घर में हेलो 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 करके घूमना, बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट? यू आर सर्चिंग फॉर नेटवर्क. सेम एग्जाम्पल टेलीफोन. अब टेलीफोन पे घंटों तक बैठ के विदाउट एनी डिस्टर्बेंस आप बात कर सकते हो. सो टेलीफोन कौन सा नेटवर्क होता है? वायर्ड नेटवर्क होता है. मोबाइल कौन सा नेटवर्क होता है? वायरलेस नेटवर्क होता है. वायरलेस नेटवर्क फास्ट स्पीड देता है, किससे? वायर्ड से. बट दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन अ क्वांटिटी ऑफ नेटवर्क. अंडरस्टैंड? So what do you mean by transmission media? A media which we are used for send or receive data or sharing the software or sharing the hardware, that media is called as transmission media. After that, basically we are doing this particular thing for a communication. और communications का मतलब होता है delivered message accurate और प्रॉपरली. उसके लिए मुझे कुछ रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस चाहिए. दैट रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस इट्स कॉल्ड एज प्रोटोकॉल. सो वी आर यूजिंग प्रोटोकॉल टू ट्रांसफर द डेटा फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर प्लेस फॉर शेयरिंग द सॉफ्टवेयर और फॉर शेयरिंग द हार्डवेयर. सो व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन नाउ? A networking is a connection of multiple nodes to share the resources. Resource will be hardware, resource will be software, or resource will be data over a transmission media and using of protocols. Understand? After the definition of networking, we are moving to the components of network. The components means the very important elements required for the network. That element, it's called as what? Components. Without components, we can't build any type of network. The first component is message. The content what we want to share, that is either text, audio or video, that is called as message. Message should be accurate. That means the language should be proper, meaning should be proper. Then only we can move to the communication, proper communication. Second, sender. The person who wants to send, that person is called as what? Sender. Receiver. The person who wants to receive a data, that person is called as receiver. Timeline, it's quite very interesting. Whatever the content or message, if you are sending and that message is delivered within a time, otherwise meaning will change. Means, for example, I send one message to student. Tomorrow you have a lecture at 9 a.m. Due to certain network issues, that students get the message next day. That means, as per the message, he will come for the lecture day after tomorrow. So that meaning will change because of time. So there is one component, it's called as jitter. Jitter find out the difference between sending time and receiving time. And it gives sending time as well as receiving time. Nowadays you can find the information about the message like sending time and receiving time. According to that or basis on that, you can assign a meaning to your message. So these are the components of network. Now we are moving to the next topic. After the definition and components of network, now we are moving to the transmission media. Because without transmission media, we can't build any type of network. So there are two types of transmission media, wired and wireless. First we are concentrate on wired and then we are moving to the wireless. So before we are moving to the wired media, we have to study the characteristics of transmission media. There are very important characteristics of transmission media. Number one is your cost. Cost means the amount paid for a particular cable, and it adds depends on the speed of network. That means nowadays you can find out whatever your internet speed is depends on your cost. If you want to increase the speed, you have to pay little bit more. If you want to decrease the speed, your amount will be what? Low. So that cost is depends on what? Speed of network. Second is installation. The particular cable or the wireless technology, it's not easy to install. So we require certain skilled labors, or we call as a hardware engineer. The person who having knowledge about networking, that person only can install the network or install the transmission media, and they will charge for that. That is called as installation. Third and very important, that is bandwidth. Bandwidth is a measurement of speed of network. How many data bits sent in 1 second or sent in 4 seconds, that is called as bandwidth. Basically the speed of internet is kbps, mbps, gbps, etc. I don't want that kb, mb and gb. We are concentrating on ps. ps means per seconds. The speed of network is totally calculated as per seconds. Next is band usage. Band means channel. How you utilize your channel. Previously we are having baseband and nowadays we are using broadband. Basically the baseband is used to transfer a single bit at a time. And broadband is used to transfer multiple bits at a time. You can check in the diagram. There is only single channel in the baseband and there are 3 channels on a broadband. That means you can send 3 bits at a time. So basically the broadband is faster than baseband. So the first is cost, second is installation, third is bandwidth, fourth is band usage. After the band usage characteristics, we are moving to the very important characteristics, that is EMI, electromagnetic interference. Students concentrate on the word on interference, not Yes. What is electromagnetic? The cable which are using for a transmission media, that cable is electromagnetic cable. The normal cable pass the current, but here we have to pass the data, so we require electromagnetic cable. In that cable, there are very less amount of electrons and the highest amount of magnetic effects. Electrons is only just to active the cable, and magnetic is used to carry the data from one plus to another. What is interference then? Basically we are using this word, हमारे लाइफ में इंटरफेयर मत करना. That means जो लाइफ मेरी चल रही है उसमें डिस्टर्बेंस मत लाना. Interference means disturbance. So due to magnet there is a certain disturbance. कैसे? For example, A connect to B and C connect to D. A having file my, C having file name is U. A को फाइल सेंड करनी है B को, which file? My file. And C को फाइल सेंड करनी है D को, which file? U file. Both the cables are parallel. दोनों के ऊपर का प्लास्टिक जैकेट्स जो केबल के ऊपर आता है वो निकल गया होगा. दोनों में मैग्नेट्स है तो दोनों का डेटा क्या होगा? एब्जॉर्ब होगा एक दूसरे में. So whatever the content is sending, that receive to directly D, and whatever the content C is sending, that received by B. That means B is waiting for my file but it got U file, and D is waiting for U file but it got my file. There is no use of U to B and my to D, so they can delete. That means A and C send 100% data, but B and D received 100% wrong data due to magnetic. That is called as interference. So EMI means electromagnetic interference. After that, we have one more characteristics, that is attenuation. The measurement of weakness of data or loss of data, it's called as attenuation. Previous example you can find out there are certain cross connection between B and D. So that means B and D both the receive wrong data. Sometimes they got 100% wrong, sometimes they get some wrong, some amount of wrong. So that calculation, it's called as attenuation. That is how many loss of data, it's called as attenuation. That means sender send 100% data but receiver receive 70%. That means attenuation is 30%. So these are the very important characteristics of transmission media. Students, what we finished in the first session: the introduction of syllabus, second, introduction of networking, definition of networking, components of networking, and characteristics of transmission media. This is your session 1 and part. Thank you, students. Stay home, stay safe.